Hola, ¿cómo estás? Mi nombre es Timoteo. Good morning. I'm the Reverend Tim Kutzmark. And welcome this Sunday morning to the Unitarian Universalist Church here in Fresno, California. I'm really glad you're joining us for our worship service. I gotta say, these last 2 weeks have felt like an endless series of sucker punches. The loss of Justice Ginsburg, the verdict around Breonna Taylor, that spectacle, that disgusting spectacle that was called the presidential debate. And I'm talking with so many folks, and there really is a sense that these have been the straws that are kind of breaking the proverbial camel's back, and that sense of hope is for many feeling harder and harder to find. And so today's service is called Choosing Hope, because hope is a choice that we make, and we're going to explore it in this idea of choosing hope from a lot of different angles. So I hope you'll invite a friend, maybe somebody who needs to have their hope rekindled. Invite them to join us. Share us with your Facebook friends. If you haven't liked us already, please do that. We're going to start the service in about 3 minutes. So you've got time for a bio break. You've got time to grab another cup of coffee. You've got time to scramble some eggs. Yeah, I think you can do that in 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And then we'll be back, and our past president, Ida, will officially welcome us to the service. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Hola, buenos dias. Good morning. Mi nombre es Ida Jones. I'm Ida Jones, and I serve as past president of your Board of Trustees. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno, California. At this church, we believe many things. We believe in the inherent worth and dignity of all people. We believe that we are all interconnected and that we bear responsibility to prioritize and protect the most vulnerable among us. Let me also say that as Unitarian Universalists, we believe Black lives matter. Each and every Black life matters. Which is why last Friday, 9 days ago, we once again stood vigil along Alluvial Avenue, the 6th time we've done so since George Floyd was murdered by the knee and the contempt of a law enforcement officer. This time we gathered to honor the life of Breonna Taylor and to say that it's unacceptable that the grand jury brought no charges against the law enforcement officers who shot her multiple times. The patterns of no charges when unarmed Black people are killed at the hand of law enforcement officers continues on and on and on and on. This is just one manifestation of America's systemic racism, that is, America's original sin. Then, this Friday, just 2 days ago, something happened on our church campus that brought a snippet of hope. On Friday morning at about 7:30 a.m., Fresno County installed an official election ballot drop box at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno. We are once again part of the democratic process in Fresno County. In 2018, the county had removed the church as a polling place because, when asked, we refused to honor the county's request to cover up or take down our Black Lives Matter banners, banners which they said made our campus unsafe for voting. On our behalf and on behalf of the Black citizens of Fresno, the ACLU sued Fresno County. Finally realizing they stood on the wrong side of history, in June, after Mr. Floyd's murder, the county moved to settle our lawsuit, and this official ballot drop box is the result. The ballot drop box now sits in full view of our Black Lives Matter banners. You drop in your ballot, turn to go back to your car, and there they are. Black Lives Matter. In that spirit, let's join our voices in reminding each other who we are as a church community, why we gather each week, and why we stood up against the racism of Fresno County. La misión de Iglesia Unitaria Universalista de Fresno es amar inclusivamente, crecer espiritualmente, servir con gratitud y trabajar por la justicia. The mission of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno is to love inclusively, grow spiritually, serve gratefully, and work for justice. With this vision as our shared identity and purpose, we welcome each other no matter our race, age, cultural background, sexual orientation, or gender identity. We welcome each other no matter our spiritual beliefs or religious upbringing. We welcome each other no matter our differing abilities, documentation status, level of education, income, or lack thereof. We welcome each other into our virtual sanctuary of memory, hope, and vision. Todos son bienvenidos aquí. As Tim shared a few minutes ago, today's service is called Choosing Hope, and we must choose hope, even when hope is hard to find. The alternative is despair, and we simply do not have time to go there right now. Too much is at stake. If we were in the physical sanctuary, this is when we would say good morning and shake hands. Here in this sanctuary created by a combination of love and technology, let's take a moment to imagine each other's faces looking out from our smartphones, tablets, screens, and TVs. See how beautiful we all are. See how precious each of us is. For each of us, we have a special prelude of hope.
There is a heartache in these hills. I am not afraid. There is a heartache in these hills. I'm not afraid. There is a heartache in these hills. Though some may tremble, I am still. And I say, hope lives in these quiet hills. There is a sadness in the land. I seek the taste of hope. There is a sadness in the land. I seek the taste of hope. There is a sadness in the land with more sorrow than we can stand. But I say, hope lives in these quiet hills. There is a sorrow in my heart. The taste of hope is sweet. There is a sorrow in my heart. The taste of hope is sweet. There is a sorrow in my heart, but I can feel the healing start. And I say, hope lives in these quiet hills. I say, hope lives in these quiet hills.
From the quiet of the hills to the quiet of this sacred moment that we're creating by our intention to be together, let us join Karen and Troy as we begin our service, our time of celebration, our time to together rekindle our hope.
We light the chalice today for hope.
This flame represents a chance, a belief, and a beckoning.
We come together to call for more love, deeper peace, and positive creation.
The light within each of us burns brighter as we connect in this space.
May the dance and flicker of our chalice flame represent a deep stirring in your soul.
May it move you to pursue hope, seize its power, and follow its tides to new horizons.
As this light begins to move your spirit this morning, we invite you to join us in singing our song of praise, Life Calls Us On.
Here in reverence now we gather for the blessings we have known, with a pledge to one another that we journey not alone. Joy and sorrow make us wise into all that lives and dies. Love calls us on. Love calls us on. Words and deeds of those before us, wakened here to keep us strong. Lend our voices voices in the chorus of creation's living song. Courage bids us lift our eyes upward to the shining skies. Hope calls us on. Hope calls us on. Loyal guides in love and duty lead us with a trusted light. Blessed are they whose inward beauty shows the path of truth and right. Honor is their earthly prize. By their work we realize faith calls us on. Faith calls us on. We will spend the precious hour, and the truth will make us free, and the Spirit's gracious power, dreams of good that yet shall be. Right the path before us lies, joyful pilgrims now we rise. Life calls us on, life calls us on.
Hola, soy Danny. Howdy friends, Danny here. And today I'm thinking about the song, Come Sing a Song With Me. And I'm thinking about how it's not just a song. It's a love story. It's a love story of community. At least it is for me. See, the first time I ever heard Come Sing a Song With Me was on one of my first trips to a Unitarian Universalist church. I was still totally new to what Unitarian Universalism was. I was only 16 years old, and I felt nervous about belonging because I really hadn't ever felt a place where I felt like I belonged outside of my family before. But the church welcomed me, and they invited me to come sing a song with them. They invited me to be part of their culture and who they were. And what's more is they adapted to who I was to make me feel more welcome. The next line of Come Sing a Song With Me, the next verse, is Come Dream a Dream With Me. I think of our kiddos who are dreaming big dreams about who they will become as adults. Paleontologists, teachers, artists who are going to change the world with their work. And I dream those dreams with them, and we dream those dreams together as a community. Together, we dream of a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. The third verse of Come Sing a Song With Me is my absolute favorite, because for me, it's community and friendship and a beautiful line. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. I'll bring a song of love, a rose in the winter time. There have been times in my life, and I'm sure in your life, where there wasn't anything anyone could do to make it better. There was just pain or hurt or disappointment. And the kindest thing that someone can do is just be there with you. My best friend had this yellow umbrella when we were teenagers. And whenever one of us were having one of our adolescent moments of the world is really hard, she would get out that yellow umbrella and she'd walk to my house. And together we would walk under the yellow umbrella all around. And because it was Florida, normally at 3:00, it would be raining. And I have these beautiful memories of walking in rain with her. Neither of us really saying much, but just knowing that I was loved because she came to walk beside me when I was hurting. I bet there are people in this community that will gladly get out their yellow or rainbow or black or clear umbrellas and come walk in rain with you. Walking with someone when they are at their most tender is such a beautiful gift. And it's a gift that a church community offers quite frequently. The next line of Come Sing a Song With Me is Come Share a Rose With Me. Roses are beautiful gifts, and there are so many other gifts that we bring as a congregation. We bring music to one another every Sunday. We share our joys. We also share our sorrows. And it's a gift to let someone in when you're hurting too. It's a gift to be vulnerable with someone. So sharing that rose, sharing those thorns, is part of how we come together as a community and support one another. So let's hear all those lines together now. Let's sing with one another. And I invite you to come sing a song with me.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
And I'll give you hope when hope is hard to find. Breathing in to that promise of hope, I ask us to take in a breath. Hold just a moment. And just let that breath out. And again, breathing in peace. Breathing in peace, we hold the moment. We breathe out love. One more time. Together, breathing in peace. We hold a moment. We imagine ourselves, the body, absorbing that peace, and then we transform it into love, and we breathe out love. My friends, there's no simpler or more powerful spiritual practice than that, because we can do it at any time, in any place. And no one even needs to know that we are transforming this moment. We're transforming our reality. And yes, by extension, the reality of everyone around us. Breathing in peace, holding, transforming, changing, breathing out love. It's been 2 weeks since we were together live here on Facebook in our virtual sanctuary made sacred by the beating of our own hearts, our sacred intention to be connected in a community of memory, caring, and hope. And in this last 2 weeks, a lot has happened. We said farewell and laid to rest notorious RBG. That was a hard one. We then got the results that yet again police officers were not indicted in the death of an unarmed Black person, and no justice for Breonna Taylor. And again, it's getting harder to breathe into that reality. And then for many of us, our jaws just dropped to the floor as we watched a spectacle of a presidential debate. And again, how hard it gets to breathe into this moment, as anxiety, as fear, as for some of us terror, just seems to close in with each and every ensuing headline. And so, in the midst of all of this, I'm going to ask us to breathe together into a question. Where in the last 7 days, where have you seen seeds of hope? All it takes is a little seed, 1 or 2, and we have to collectively trust that those seeds will sprout and will grow. And so, as we've claimed those seeds, we breathe together into our time of sharing, the time we take to share our personal joys, concerns, gratitudes, sadnesses, and sorrows. And so if you'd like to share this morning something that's in your heart, you can type that out in the comment box, and be sure not to use a last name if you're referring to someone else. And as we share together, we collectively lift up the name of Neil Horsley, a longtime beloved member of this congregation who passed into the mysteries of death this week. Neil has been a church leader for years. Back at the church on Millbrook Avenue, Horsley Hall proclaimed the hands-on hard work that he did in helping that campus be maintained and electrified, bringing his great skill as an electrician. Inspired so many people. I've heard from younger members of the church that he was like a father and a grandfather to them. And I know that for so many of the long-term members of the church, he was a dear, dear friend. He was a father, of course, and the beloved husband of Bev. They were together 64 years, and as much in love as they were in these last weeks than they were at the beginning. And I love the sight of Neil because he just didn't want to slow down, and he's out there along Alluvial Ave with his walker and the dog, and Bev's there, and he's just booking along and just moving. He was a man who was happy because he knew he had lived a full and meaningful and love-filled life. And so we lift up that life. Neil, hoarsely. This week, too, we celebrate that sacred circle of life. Beloved elders depart from our circle of love, and new life is born into this circle of love. This week, we were excited to see that Jordan and Floyd S. welcomed their newest child, young Shepherd. So welcome Shepherd into this church community and into this larger community of hope and love that you bring new and anticipated light to shine our way on. Welcome, Shepherd. If you'd like to join the chorus of welcome for Shepherd, just type an S in the comment box, an S in the comment box. We also remember this morning our beloveds, those members and friends of the congregation who need your prayers, who need your good wishes, your good energy, your thoughts to hold them in light and love. We also celebrate 91 years of extraordinary living. Our beloved Saul E. celebrated his 91st birthday. And so let's join our voices and wish happy birthday to Saul. And if you also want to type HBS, that's happy birthday Saul, in the comment box. Let's sing.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Saul. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Saul.
And so for all that has been shared, for everything we hold in the sacredness and silence of our own hearts, and for all those people who on this Sunday have no one to remember them, no one to say their name with gentleness and love, we light our candle of community by our remembering. May we and they be loved. As is our custom, we light a second candle. This candle will burn for all those worldwide who have lost their lives to COVID-19. A staggering 1 million lives lost. And as our custom has always been to lift up the loss worldwide, because this is a pandemic that has impacted everyone and everywhere. Today we also acknowledge that we passed the horrifying and unjustifiable threshold of death in this country. Over 200,000 Americans have died. We also have a custom here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno that on the year anniversary of a member's death, their passing into the mysteries of death, we light a special candle of remembrance. And so today we remember Ray Ensher. Ray, a longtime member of the congregation. Ray, a longtime drama instructor in the Fresno area, touched the lives of so many young people, giving them the opportunity to learn how to use their voices and their bodies to express and experience life and become people other than who they were, go to places they had never seen through their imagination and through that extraordinary gift of theater. Ray was also a leader, a dedicated leader in the Democratic Party here in Fresno. Ray was everywhere. Ray was a fierce proponent for progressive values here in the Central Valley. And Ray also will always be cherished as the town crier at the start of each and every town hall. And so, in celebration of Ray's remarkable and unique life, this candle of remembrance burns bright.
Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In storm and rain, sorrow and pain, still we'll remain, singing. Calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing. Pequeña voz dentro del ser, oigo tu voz cantando. En mi dolor, llanto y terror, siento tu amor cantando. Siempre darás calma y solaz en mi pesar cantando.
I have to hold on to hope. If I don't have hope, I don't have anything. My father says these words to me in the kitchen as we chat, reflecting on the world and its many pains. I have been hurting, challenged, struggling, and in so much pain, it numbs me. I hate to admit it. There it is. I have to hold on to hope. If I don't have hope, I don't have anything. My father says these words to me as I sit in the kitchen, wondering how on earth I'm going to write about hope when I'm running low on supply myself. I have to hold on to hope. I don't think this is an easy task. In fact, I think it's much harder to hold on to hope, not just recognize or acknowledge it, but really grasp it firmly and hold on with all you've got, than it is to succumb to fear or despair.
Holding on to hope, however, is what we need most during trying times. Belief in something better, more just, more loving pushes us to improve ourselves, maybe inspire others to do the same, and continue to work for the future that our children deserve.
More loving. I want that so bad. I want to see a more loving world more than anything. That's what I'm hoping for. When I lose sight of that love, it hurts so bad, like a pile of bricks just pushing down on my chest.
It's there. The love.
I know. I just have to search for it.
I mean, yeah, you can search for it. I mean, that's easy enough. The trick, though, is to hold on to it.
Holding on to hope. How do I do that?
Try this. I'm going to show you some love, some joy, and some hope. You grab it and hold on tight.
Okay.
I love you.
Hold on to hope.
Fall is arriving, and there will be soup. Lots of soup.
Hold on to hope.
Cooler weather also means cozy blankets and mugs filled with warm goodness.
Hold on to hope.
You are surrounded by the love of some really special friends and family members.
Hold on to hope.
Families, friends, and neighbors have come together in creative and caring ways to be together while apart.
Hold on to hope.
Brave essential workers in healthcare, grocery stores, fields, schools, and more have dedicated themselves to being on the front lines in order to keep society moving.
Hold on to hope.
Right now, more people than ever are working for racial justice.
Hold on to hope.
People are writing postcards, calling strangers, and doing all they can to get out to vote.
Hold on to hope.
Today's youth care deeply about our planet and are taking action to combat climate change.
Hold on to hope.
Our UU church community lifts up an amazing love that celebrates the worth and dignity of all people.
Hold on to hope. I've got all this hope now. I'm full to bursting. What do I do?
Let it go. Share it out and spread it about.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more calm somewhere. There is more calm somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more calm somewhere. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere.
Estas últimas 2 semanas han sido un infierno. These last 2 weeks have been hell. So said my friend Fernando yesterday. I've talked to many members and friends in the congregation who agree these last 14 days have felt like a spiritual sucker punch to the soul. The death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the ongoing wildfires, the lack of indictments for the police officers responsible for the gunfire death of Breonna Taylor, the seems to be sure-shot steamrolling of a Supreme Court nominee to create a clear conservative majority to reshape our country and women's lives, the jaw-dropping rudeness and vulgarity of the debate, the ominous stirrings of the Proud Boys, efforts to suppress the vote, efforts to undermine the validity of the election, the disclosure that Fresno's independent police reviewer withheld for months a report critical of police action in the arrest and beating of London Wallace, the hospitalization of the president, and the fact that there are presently more corona cases in the White House than in the entire country of New Zealand. All of this cumulatively feels like too much. And I know many of us are exhausted, anxious, overwhelmed, fearful, and yes, heartbroken. For some of us, our hope is deflated. As my friend Fernando said, estas últimos 2 semanas han sido un infierno. These last 2 weeks have been hell. So much so that while talking on Zoom yesterday, Fernando went on an uncharacteristic rant about relocating to Canada. When I reminded him that as an American, he couldn't travel there because Americans were unwanted health risks, Fernando made a snide remark that ticked me off. He said, "I feel so hopeless right now, I'd move anywhere to get out of the US. I'd even go so low as to go to Afghanistan." His comment ticked me off because these last few weeks, I've been finding solace and inspiration remembering the time I spent in Afghanistan 8 years ago. Because I've been remembering what I learned in Afghanistan about choosing hope amidst hardship. And that's what I want to share with you today. Now, on the surface, as my friend Fernando insinuated, few places in our world appear more hopeless than that remote, mountainous Central Asian country that is just slightly smaller than the state of Texas. Not to minimize the very real crisis of health, race, and democracy that we are facing in America, thinking about Afghanistan puts what we are dealing with here in perspective. Between 1978 and 1989, during the almost 12-year Soviet occupation, an estimated 1.3 million Afghans were killed. Landmines and bombs maimed another 3 million. And millions more fled as refugees to Pakistan and Iran. Following the Soviet withdrawal in 1989 came a brutal 6.5-year civil war that devastated cities and villages and claimed an additional 400,000 lives. Then came the Taliban's 5-year strangling, repressive religious rule. And finally, after the 9/11 attacks and the reversal of the Taliban's conservative direction, there have been 19 years of U.S. military presence and Taliban and then ISIS insurgency. Add it all up. So many Afghans, several generations, have every right to surrender their hearts and spirit to hopelessness. But as I found out, as I met and talked with them, so many Afghans actually live in a collective, proactive state of hope. Hope. I'm not talking about pie in the sky, head in the sand, house of cards constructed hope. I'm not talking about naive positivity that ignores reality. A stop crying, start smiling because the sun will come out tomorrow and dry up all the rain and we'll all dance together holding hands and singing Kumbaya kind of hope. No, Afghan hope is a gritty, earthbound, daring, creative, courageous, sacred, spiritual hope. It's a kind of hope that Václav Havel bore witness to when he wrote, "Hope in this deep and powerful sense is not the same as joy that things are going well, or willingness to invest in enterprises that are obviously heading for success. But rather, this hope is an ability to work for something because it is good, not just because it stands a chance to succeed. Let me say that again. Hope, in this deep and powerful sense, is not the same as joy that things are going well, or willingness to invest in enterprises that are obviously heading for success. But rather, this hope is an ability to work for something because it is good, not just because it stands a chance to succeed. This is the kind of hope I was shown by 3 Afghani women who were working for good while bracing against people who want to turn back the clock and drag a country backwards. Working for good while bracing against people who want to turn back the clock and drag a country backwards. This kind of hope is epitomized by educator and social organizer Fatima Akbari, who during the Taliban time was beaten and jailed because of her refusal to stop educating girls. A widow whose husband was murdered by the Taliban, Akbari now runs a neighborhood school and heads a business association for women. Her small school is situated in a very poor section of Kabul, down a tight, snow-choked street. I remember jumping over icy puddles and slipping on rotting garbage on the way to her small compound. For some of her students, her classroom is an after-school program where girls and boys together come to strengthen their reading and writing skills, practice math, and study the Quran. For others, especially some girls whose fathers will not permit them to attend a public school, this is the only access to education they have. The afternoon we visit is cold, with temperatures just below freezing. In the unheated classroom, kids keep on their coats and hats. There's no central heating in Kabul. When one young girl stands to read to us from the Quran, we can see her fingers shaking from the cold. And yet these beautiful children are engaged, enthusiastic, filled with life, as is Fatima herself. We've come so far, she tells us. 10 years ago, women and girls were beaten in the streets if we accidentally let our hands be glimpsed outside of our burqa. Now we can use those same hands to learn and practice a trade. 10 years ago, it was illegal to educate girls. Now, by edict of our new constitution, it is illegal not to. 10 years ago, a woman wanting to run a business did so underground, dealing in the black market. Now we have citywide associations that promote women-run businesses. 10 years ago, I was jailed for dreaming of a better tomorrow. Today, my sisters and I are openly shaping our future. But that future has few guarantees. 8 years ago, when she spoke with us, Fatima Akbari had no illusions about what the future might hold for the children and women she mentored. 8 years ago, the Taliban was growing bolder with frequent incursions into Kabul, and this was before ISIS was added into the deadly mix. She knew nothing was certain She was bracing against people who want to turn back the clock and drag the country backwards. Fatima and the women of Afghanistan live within the tension of knowing that despite all their work, all their progress, the past could quite literally come back to haunt them. But still, they choose to work for good. Not because it is guaranteed to succeed, but because it is the right thing to do. Jamila Afghani lives within this tension every day. This young activist grew up in a conservative family of rich businessmen who held to traditional cultural values. These male family members saw no reason for any girl to be educated, least of all one who, like Jamila, was disabled and reliant on crutches to move about. Sitting on bright-colored green cushions on the floor in the small apartment she shared with her husband and 3 little children, Jamila poured hot green tea while saying, "I suffered a lot from the strictures of my family. My father and my brothers tried to prevent me from getting an education. I wasn't even permitted to see a doctor for health care or treatment of my disability. To them, I was invisible and expendable." Unwilling to be hidden from the world and inviting the wrath of the male members of her family, Jamila found ways to get an education. My sisters-in-law would cover for me, telling my brothers that I was quite ill from my disability and I couldn't come out from my room, while in actuality, I had snuck out of the house to go to class. Their courage in secretly defying their husbands helped me to get the learning I now use to empower other women. With her master's degree in international relations and Islamic law, Jamila heads an educational and capacity development organization that teaches business management, finance, and database design to women. But it is her use of religion that is most revolutionary. Many of those who espouse the traditional values regarding the status of women use Islam as the basis for their actions and attitudes in Afghanistan. As a Muslim woman, says Jamila, my faith gives rhythm to my day and meaning to my life. In all things, I try to follow the teachings of the Quran and live in alignment with the Islamic vision of society. At first, I couldn't understand why my religion would so denigrate women. I sought a Quranic education so I could see for myself. As I studied the Quran, I discovered that it does not sanction second-class treatment of women. It doesn't advocate child brides, the beating of a woman, and the giving away of girls as barter. It doesn't forbid education. Emboldened by this truth, Jamila began meeting with imams, religious teachers in the mosques, to show them that the Quran supports gender equality. At first, she says, with her knowing smile, most imams were unwilling to even meet with a woman to discuss religious matters, let alone take instructions from one. But with time and persistence, Jamila and her teaching team have now trained hundreds of Afghan imams in a more egalitarian understanding of Islam. Those imams are back in their mosques teaching that women must be treated as equals. Says Jamila, my hope comes from seeing change. Her hope comes with great risk. Jamila has been threatened repeatedly and attacked several times. She knows there are those who want her dead. She now goes out in public only when necessary and no longer sends her son to school. She lives isolated and quarantined in her home, not just because of the pandemic, but because of a pandemic of people who want to turn back the clock and drag the country backwards. This is the tension we all live with, Jamila says. The push outward to do what is good and the pull back to protect those we love. Silver-haired, sparkling-eyed Soraya Perlica, one of the country's leading human rights activists, lives within this tension every day. She was part of the leadership group that worked out the power-sharing arrangements after the fall of the Taliban and is one of the writers of Afghanistan's new constitution. We visited her on the last day in the country. Soraya greeted us warmly at the entrance to her small suite of offices. As she closed the door behind us, I noticed the information she taped to the back of the door. It read, 13 ways to spot a suicide bomber. Soraya told us, the last 10 and a half years have brought enormous strides in rebuilding our country. It is very different than it was in the time of the Taliban. In the last 10 and a half years, the city of Kabul went from being a bombed out wasteland with no electricity or running water to a city that burns bright at night with power in 90% of the homes. Afghanistan went from being a place where women could be beaten if they left their homes to being a country where the new constitution guarantees that 27% of the members of parliament must be female. There are more women in the Afghan parliament than in the U.S. House of Representatives and Congress. She suddenly pauses and for a brief moment looks weary, sad, and lost. Soraya knows that all this she has worked to create will most likely be stripped away when a peace deal is brokered with the Taliban. She is bracing herself for those who will want to turn back the clock and drag the country backwards. But that doesn't stop her from doing everything she can right now to build the beloved community she envisions. Soraya and the women of Afghanistan live within the tension of knowing that despite all their work, all their progress, the past could quite literally come back to haunt them. But still, they choose to work for good. Not because it is guaranteed to succeed, but because it is the right thing to do. Yesterday, as I talked with my anxious, overwhelmed, and fearful friend Fernando, I told him about these 3 amazing women who, against all odds, chose hope amidst hardship. Rather than fleeing, rather than giving up, rather than giving into their ever-present and valid dread, these women choose a collective, proactive state of hope. Because they, in the end, understand that history is a complex dance between forward movement and backward regression. Because they know that once something good is made manifest. It never really can be made to go away. It can never truly vanish because it exists in people's minds and in their experience. It has already been lived, so it can't be bottled back up again. It is alive in the collective consciousness that is bigger than any hatred, bigger than any fear, bigger than any hardship we might be facing in this moment in time. Hope endures. Hope endures. Hope endures. Hope. I'm not talking about pie in the sky, head in the sand, house of cards, constructed hope. I'm not talking about naive positivity that ignores reality. Stop crying, start smiling because the sun will come out tomorrow and dry up all the rain and we'll all dance together, holding hands and singing kumbaya kind of hope. No, I'm talking about a gritty, earthbound, daring, creative, courageous, sacred, spiritual hope. The kind of hope that lives within the essence of our Unitarian Universalist faith, which never gives up on the good or stops working to prioritize and protect the most vulnerable among us. A Unitarian Universalist faith that no matter what we face together sings eternally, I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. The kind of hope that Václav Havel bore witness to when he wrote, hope, in this deep and powerful sense, is not the same as joy that things are going well or willingness to invest in enterprises that are obviously heading for success. But rather, this hope is an ability to work for something because it is good, not just because it stands a chance to succeed. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall, no one would hear? Well, let that lonely feeling wash away. Maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. 'Cause when you don't feel strong enough to stand, you just reach out your hand. And oh, someone will come running, and I know they'll take you home. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, you'll reach up and you'll rise again. Lift your head and look around, you will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found. Out of the shadows, the morning is breaking. All is new, all Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, you reach up and you rise again. Lift your head and look around, you will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found. You will be found.
Good morning, and welcome to my home. I formally joined the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno 34 years ago, and now I serve joyfully as a member of the worship arts team. When I consider what this church means to me, I focus on the word connection. The relative isolation occasioned by COVID-19, the agonizing recent events in our culture, which seems to be awash in hatred and dissension, mean that the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno is more important to me than ever before. Our online services, intellectually stimulating and spiritually restorative. Our vibrant lifelong learning program. Our Zoom room meetings when we need to be together. Our outreach to our local community and to our country, all connect me with something larger than myself, to like-minded people who share my values and reassure me that I am not alone. If we are to continue this work of connection among ourselves and with our local community and our country, we need financial support. If we were spatially together, we would pass an offering basket. But since that is not possible, you can use modern technology to channel your contributions through Cash App, PayPal, credit card, or text. A slide will miraculously appear with the needed information. But first, in the spirit of grateful generosity, please join me in our words of offering. If not us, then who? If not open hearts, then what? If not now, then when? If not here, then where? If not generously, then how? If not us, then who? Thank you for joining me this morning and for giving generously.
Howdy, friends. I'm back with a reveal of Reverend Tim's Sunday socks. This week, it was a cartoon sock wrestling match between three giants of animation. Snoopy and Woodstock and Charlie Brown, Pikachu from the world of Pokemon, and Mickey Mouse. Now, the winning socks were Snoopy and Woodstock. Now, a few reminders. Next Sunday, October 11th, we will have another Faith in Film series showing. This one is Sitting Bull, A Stone in My Heart. Registration for Chalice Circles is now open. Chalice Circles normally have about 8 to 10 folks in them and are a great way to grow spiritually while also deepening your connections to community and one another. You can register online or you can email me at growspiritually@uufresno.org. And last but not least, it's time to save the date for Taco Fiesta, October 23rd from 5 to 7 p.m. Now, I'm going to say that one more time because I'm just so excited about it. Taco Fiesta is October 23rd from 5 to 7 p.m. Taco Fiesta will be an outdoor, socially distanced shindig featuring a mariachi band and a taco truck and lots of clean, safe, socially distant fun. Now, over to Patty.
Good morning. I'm Patty Bennett, and I serve gratefully as the coordinator of congregational life here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno. I want to invite anyone new or newish to join Reverend Tim for an exploration of personal spiritual journey immediately following the service. This workshop is part of our series called Introduction to Unitarian Universalism. It's designed for newcomers, and it's also open to anyone who wants to deepen their understanding of Unitarian Universalism. I'll post the Zoom link in the Facebook comments. You can also find the correct link on our main website calendar and on the September-October Zoom calendar. Now let's return to the Polnitz family for our chalice extinguishing.
The flame goes out, but the fire lives on.
We are filled with a fiery love, and no matter what, we are holding on to hope.
Whether you hold on to clear skies, peaceful nights,
Or bowls and bowls of soup,
hold on
to hope. Extinguimos esta llama, pero no la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los llevaremos en el corazón. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts.
Thank you, Karen and Troy, and thank you for your continued leadership within the congregation. It's a real gift. Muchas gracias. Well, dear ones, we are at the end of our service. There's closing words, our sung benediction, and then our postlude and social hour. So let's end, bringing the precious hands that are ours and placing them over our heart. Our time together ends. Let us look, listen, see, hear. May we open ourselves to the here and now, to the blessings of this day, to the seeds of hope just waiting to be discovered. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
Go from here in peace, go with love. Go from here in peace, go with love. Go from here in peace, go with love. In love, go in peace. Shalom and assalamu alaikum.
I know it's all you got to just be strong. And it's a fight just to keep it together, together. I know you think that you are too far gone, but hope is never lost. Hope is never lost. Hold on, don't let go. closer. Put one foot in front of the other. You'll get through this. Just follow the light in the shadows. You're gonna be okay. I know your heart is heavy from those nights. Just remember that you are a fighter. You never know just what tomorrow holds. And you're stronger than you know. Stronger than you know. Hold on, don't let go. Hey, hold on, don't let go. Just take one step closer. Put one foot in front of the other. You'll get through this. Just follow the light in the shadows. One step closer. Put one foot in front of the other. You'll get through this. Just follow the light in the shadows. You're gonna be okay.